Sitting in with us here to close out the program here on Citadel Week is a guy who knows quite a bit about the Furman Citadel rivalry. He played here from the 2001 through 2004 seasons as a Furman Hall of Famer. Went on to get some nice hardware with a couple of years in the Canadian Football League Grey Cup championships, and now back here in year 3, right, as the wide receivers coach.
Yep, year 3.
You're getting old.
Tell me about it.
That's Brian Bratton joining us here on the program. How are you, my friend?
I'm good.
I know we tried to do this yesterday, but in any point in time in the inside this football building, Clay Hendricks trumps Dan Scott.
No doubt.
He trumps a lot of people, doesn't he?
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's just been one of those weeks. Obviously, we had the bye week to kind of get prepared, but this week we're really solidifying our game plan and trying to put our guys in the best situation to be successful. So,
and Clay actually was very forthcoming about this last week in the bye week. There were going to be 3 practices, give the kids some time to get caught up on academics, but also said during that time probably work a little bit on Samford during the bye week. But now it's all locked in, obviously, on the Citadel here in game week and the unique challenge they bring. Before we even talk about your memories, let's talk about this game coming up Saturday. Is this the record doesn't suggest it, but you see the film. Is this Citadel team as good or as dangerous as the Citadel teams of the previous couple of years?
Well, I think they have had some guys graduate, and obviously they had to me, I thought was one of the best defensive backs in the league last year, D. Delaney, who went to Miami and is now playing at Miami. So there's a couple of different pieces that they bring, and I think that maybe they didn't do some of the things that they did well, like D. Delaney did well, but they have something that they do well that adds to the difficulties that they bring as a football team. And obviously they're a team that's going to be tough and hard-nosed just by the nature of who they are and what they go through on a daily basis. So you're looking at a team is going to be aggressive. They're going to come after you, especially defensively as we look at it, and then offensively everybody knows what they do, and they do it pretty well.
You were telling me right before we came back out of the break and talking about how this team has run the football this year and just a complete 180-degree turn from the previous 3 seasons. And you called yourself the happiest wide receiver coach in America, which might be odd considering we only threw it 5 times last week.
Right.
But the number of catches are down. But, boy, the yards per catch are way up for all of our receivers.
Yeah, and you got to look at that. You got to look at the production. What's a lot of volume if you're not getting anywhere with it? And that's what I tell the receivers that we're recruiting. Yeah, we're not going to be a team that throws the ball 70 times a game. I mean, that's just not who we are. But when we do throw it, we get big chunks. I mean, you look at the statistics. We're up there in the country as far as yards per reception, yards per attempt, passing efficiency, and all that. And I think that you have to put some value on that rather than just how many times you're letting it go.
In your Furman career, you went 3-1 against the Citadel. Your one loss was a 10-9 loss to the Bulldogs.
I remember that game.
What are some of your memories from your times as a player in the purple and white?
Well, I do remember playing against Willie Simmons. I believe that was down at the Citadel. I remember being here, and I think it was 2004. And the last time we played them, I think I scored twice here, had a long reverse, and then a pass. I think it was a really good game. Obviously, we had a star-studded team then. We had Engel, we had Isaac, we had a lot of guys on defense and played pretty good. They've always been that tough-nosed, physical team. Back then, they didn't do what they did now as far as the triple option and stuff like that offensively, but you always knew that you were going to get a physical game, and very similar to the guys that they have now, and kind of their mentality is they just get in a 60-minute fight and try to be tougher, and we got to match it. We got to come with it offensively, defensively, and then even on special teams we got to come with it and match their intensity and be just as physical as they are.
When you were playing, had Wofford kind of taken that mantle with your generation of players as the biggest rivalry, or was it still the Citadel? Because I think right now, if you ask students, if you ask players, maybe Wofford holds a little bit of a higher level of intensity from a rivalry standpoint, but among people of a certain age, it'll always be the Citadel. Where was it when you were here?
Yeah, I think that we understood the history between Furman and the Citadel. Was it a rivalry? Yeah, because of what was before us. I think in those days, we looked at our rivalry. Really, everybody was Furman's rival because we were so successful, and you got everybody's best game every single week. But I think that you looked at the Georgia Southerns, where we had sellout crowds, and it was coming down to the last play of the game. Appalachian State, who couldn't win here, and then we couldn't win up there, and crazy things would just happen. So those are all games that I would consider rivals. But as far as Furman's oldest rivalry, you look at the Citadel, understand Wofford was just kind of coming into, I think we were 3-1 against Wofford while I was here too, losing 7-6 here in 2003. But I think Wofford was that team that was coming. We never looked at them as quite like those other three as far as a rivalry, but the proximity always made it an interesting matchup.
It's just intriguing from a player's standpoint, from era to era, how that view changes. You know what the history is, but in that moment, for you guys, as you mentioned, Georgia Southern, Appalachian State were probably the two biggest. But historically, I'm sure people let you know when you were a player that, say what you want as a player, but to us, this is the game that
Right, and I think it's important for our guys to know that now. I mean, this thing goes back, and you are where you are because of the people that came before you and the programs and the years and the history. So you got to take time to understand the past and understand how big this game is to a lot of people. And so I think that they understand it. They get the stories, the same stories I got, they get. And so I think that they got to do a good job of just embracing the past and understanding what this game means.
How has the rivalry kind of changed from you as going from a player to a coach now? How do you look at things a little bit differently, or is it kind of the same?
Well, I think it's the same, and I think that each season takes on its own identity. And for this season, for us, I mean, the way that it started now, the way we've kind of on the roll, I mean, this is the biggest game of the year, and it just happens to be the Citadel, which makes it even bigger. So I think from a coaching standpoint, it's tough being a coach and not a player because you can't go out there and do it. I'm trying to teach it, and you're trusting guys to go do it. I can't go out there do it. I'd rather just go out there myself, but you can't. And so you got to trust guys and get them prepared and throw them out there and then just kind of watch them play. But I think that the way this season has unfolded and then who our opponent is this week makes it really unique.
Yeah, especially with what potentially is on the line
No doubt.
for Furman, and you know that the Citadel would love to play spoiler in that since they have no shot at getting into the playoffs now. And we're told they're bringing 10 busloads of cadets up here for this game. So we should have, especially if Furman fans respond, we should have the biggest crowd easily of the season, maybe the biggest crowd of my 7 years here as the play-by-play voice. This has a chance to be just a rocking atmosphere on Saturday, and you know it. You've been in, really, I guess, on both sides throughout your career. Citadel would love to do nothing more than come up here and rain on our parade.
Yeah, 100%. And here's the thing about them. They've got a lot of pride. I mean, if they win, they can have a win a season if they win the next two games or win this game. So they're going to come in trying to play. They want to send their seniors out the right way. And obviously, they're sitting there talking about the history of the two programs. They want to beat Furman as well. So it's not like anybody's coming in here to lay down. Nobody's going to come in here to give us anything. And I think that we've sent that message as a staff. I know I have with my receivers. And, we got to come out like, we're and play the way that we in our heads want to win.
I was asked this question as a guest on another show last night, and I'll be interested to get your perspective. The way the question was posed to me was, at the beginning of the year, before you kick off the first game, did you see this kind of turnaround being possible this quickly? And I had to be honest and say no. I had a feeling it was going to come, but I obviously didn't see it coming as quickly and as dramatically as it has. If you look at where we were with a lot of unknowns on the defensive side of the ball, all the young players who were going to have to play prior to kickoff, and then the number of freshmen that by the time we were 2 or 3 games into the season that had gone from 13 to like 25.
Right.
So I had to answer honestly, no, I didn't see it happening this quickly. What about you as a coach on this staff? Could you have envisioned this thing turning as quickly and dramatically as it did?
Well, I don't know if I could say envisioned. I truly thought that our mindset was to take it 1 week at a time and just kind of see if we could get better every week. I knew that we would be in a position to do some good things by the nature of what we did and how we practiced, and then just how we matched up with different teams. So as far as winning 6 straight and all that stuff, honestly, I wish that wouldn't have happened. I wish we would have won week 1, and won week 2 when we had the opportunities to. And then, who knows what would have taken place down the road. But I think those 2 games gave our guys a taste of, okay, what we can be. We haven't done it, but what we can, and gave them a little bit of a nugget to keep working. And now it's worked in our favor. Now we have a chance to, squeeze them out, get in hard games. We felt like what it was like to lose close. We don't want to be there anymore. And I think that's all helped in the turnaround.
So was there anything particular about the when you were playing at Citadel or playing against Citadel that kind of sticks out? It's like a single memory or a play, a interaction with one of the Citadel players or something like that, or just from going into the game week about it? Like what sticks out from your as a student athlete from your days playing against the Citadel?
Yeah, not a specific play. We were when I look at my most recent year in 2004, and we were just so dominant.
Yes.
That game, we might have played a half. As far as the starters were concerned, I remember going down there and losing. I do remember that. I remember Josh Stepp played in that game at quarterback a little bit. Bo Moore was playing. I remember going down there and losing. I just remember them being very physical, a physical hard bunch, and you had to bring it. And it didn't matter, how good you were or how much better you were athletically. It kind of equalized it, and you had to come out and play. And just in 2004, we were just really, really good, and we overmatched them. But the rest of the years, I felt like we had to come to play.
Final thing, as we get set to wrap it up and let you get back to work, because we don't want to be an excuse for anything. The wide receivers are unprepared because they run their coaches on the Dan Scott Show. Just from your standpoint, what are a couple of keys for this week?
Well, number one, I'm a receiver coach, so it's going to sound weird to some people when I say it, but we got to run the ball well. I'm used to being on the other side of this offense, from a player standpoint and as a coach for the past few years. And, it sucks to sit on the other side and the ball's just moving down the field and you as offense coach are just sitting there not doing anything. So it's like when I say I'm the happiest receiver coach in the world, I'm happy because I'm on that side now where our offense is moving. We got to continue to do that. We got to run the ball. Ball security is going to be key. If you look at the season, how it's unfolded all throughout our conference, the team with the most turnovers usually loses. And a lot of teams have had multiple, and it's hurt them. So we have to take care of the ball. Obviously, we're known for having big plays. We got to hit them when they're there. We can't be off a fraction. We got to hit them and make them go. And then, we got to support our defense, put them in good situations, special teams-wise. Citadel blocked 3 punts last week.
Wow.
So special teams wise, we gotta come to play, be on our P's and Q's. We gotta take care of the football there too, and it's gonna take a total team effort. That's what it's kind of like the Mercer game. Throw the records out the window. It means something to people, and so it's gonna be a hard-nosed 60-minute game that we gotta show up and we gotta play every play of it.
Spoken like a true coach. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
As
Appreciate
always.
it, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate
That's
you
our
guys.
good friend Brian Bratton, and the game, of course, is 2 p.m. here on Saturday at Paladin Stadium.